Hello and welcome back to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar. In this video, I'll be addressing something that's incredibly damaging to our writing. When we refer to the writer, we're often pointing out what that writer has done. But it's too common for any level of writing to express itself in really simplistic terms, whether that's the writer shows this, the writer suggests that, the writer presents even. This video is a present in itself. It's offering you alternative examples of how you could choose to express yourself with that connecting verb when you're saying something like the writer. You're offering an idea, and this video gives you alternative ways to express that idea that are more precise and nuanced. This is not an exhaustive list, but it's definitely a great place to begin. Let's kick off with the way we can comment on the images created by a writer. I could say the writer illustrates, painting a picture in my mind. Depicts means exactly the same thing, presenting an image for me as a reader. And finally, portrays, offering an insight into how it looks to us as a reader. Next up are verbs that argue something that the writer is offering us. The writer demonstrates, they're proving something to us. The writer validates, that means they argue through the proof they have. The writer stresses something, proving the idea has even more importance. And finally, the writer proves this. This is best served when reflecting on the writer's intentions specifically and unpicking their motivations. And it's also worth considering that you might be using these particular verbs when looking at opinion pieces of writing. Additionally, we need to consider the way that writing carries its message. So we talk about how the writer conveys something. It's how they show us. If the writer amplifies something, they make it more important by making it a louder message across their writing. And then finally, you might talk about how the writer alerts us to something. That might be a short, sharp way that they structure their writing or shift their focus to make us care. Can you see that all of these verbs so far are much more precise than just saying the writer shows? You're already proving your vocabulary as someone who's credible and has really reflected on the writer's intentions. Now, sometimes it's not exactly clear what the writer was getting at. So sometimes it suffices just to talk about how the writer points something out. The writer enhances. The writer accentuates, that means draws attention to. The writer emphasizes, or even simply the writer highlights. These are much more interesting than the writer suggests. And this continues. There are more ways that we can draw attention to something. If the writer indicates something, it's very specific and precise, like someone pointing their finger to you. If they signify something, they talk about its importance. And if they clarify something, I've got the image there of someone sweeping away a mess. Here, if they clarify something, they're getting rid of all the cobwebs and all the mess. They're making it clear for you as a reader exactly what they think. This next array of verbs comments on how the writer builds on an idea. If the writer crystallizes something, they are proving its solid importance and how an idea has developed or changed across a piece of writing or across time. If they solidify something, they add more weight to its importance in their writing. So they might go on to explain themselves more. If the writer heightens something, just like the tip of a mountain, they're drawing the most attention to an idea at a certain point in their writing. Maybe it's a climax in a moment in the story. And finally, the writer might strengthen a view they have. And by strengthen, they're adding more evidence or more imagery to build a picture for us. This final collection of verbs is offering you ways of explaining how a writer explores an idea or theme. The first one is the way a writer examines something. The next is the way that a writer could evaluate something, weighing up the importance of an idea or issue. Another way of looking at this, if a writer is being critical, is that the writer might choose to undermine something. If I undermine something, I'm putting it down, making it seem bad. But overall, each of these verb choices takes some consideration. The writer inspects the ideas and offers their valid opinion. The fundamental purpose of this video is to offer you some quick ways into using different verb choices that can elevate the quality of your writing. I would urge you to practice using these different verbs and trying it out in analytical paragraphs to ensure that the quality at any level, whether it's GCSE, A-level, undergraduate, postgraduate, really shows that you have got a verb choice range, as opposed to just 3 verbs that you cling onto for dear life and hope are proving exactly what you mean to say. All the best, and I hope that your vocabulary is tip-top and ready to smash whatever you're about to commit to as analytical writing. Why not subscribe to Miss Hannah Loves Grammar for all things English, literary and grammatical?